What's going on, everybody? How you doing today? Here I am in Pensacola, Florida, on Cervantes Street, West Cervantes Street, to be exact, and I'm in a parking lot. And continuing my story about Ted Bundy, this is a location where he was spotted, not where he was caught. He was spotted by the police. They did not know it was Ted Bundy. The officer who eventually arrested him a few minutes after being in this parking lot didn't even know he was Ted Bundy. But it was right here where Ted Bundy parked and pulled out. So you'll notice some houses. This is a very, very busy industrial road going into Pensacola that way. Ted Bundy had pulled in here, and apparently, because of old habits, he was peeping, he was searching, he was looking for another victim. Here, it was about 1 o'clock in the morning, and he pulled into this parking lot. It used to be called Oscar's. This place right here, it says Taste of Jerusalem. It used to be a restaurant called Oscar's. This is February 15th, 1978. It's been an antique market since, and now it's Taste of Jerusalem, a world market, it says. So Ted Bundy pulled his stolen Volkswagen Beetle into here, possibly got out for a while, but then pulled out and turned right. Now what's interesting, he'd been on the road for 46 days, well, I believe about 20, he'd been on the run for 46 days, 21 stolen credit cards on him, stolen car. The police officer was coming this way, and he noticed this car turn out of a darkened parking lot and turn right. So we walk a little closer to the main road, right where this gentleman is waving to us. And there used to be a mural here that the owner of the antique store put up. Ted Bundy's mugshot, I believe Fry Bundy, about his execution. He made no apologies for it. He liked the mural that he had put up, and he justified it by saying, well, it has the execution. It shows that I'm not in favor of Ted Bundy and what he did. Still a little bit of an odd thing, but something maybe to catch people's attention. Okay. So as I said, he pulled out of here, Ted Bundy, and like the idiot that he you know, it's always something with a car with him. He had no headlights on. Now that's going to raise suspicions. Coming out of a parking lot of a restaurant that's closed, probably been closed for a few hours, and the officer that's on the beat around here would know that, right? Officer David Lee was his name. He would know. That's a little odd. But no headlights as well? Come on. So he thought it was suspicious. He decided to follow the car and headed north along West Street. And that's where we're going to go next. But this is the street where Ted Bundy, without a clue, he had spent the day on the beach, I read, and was thinking that he probably, there's the police right there, thinking that, and he said that it was one of the best days he ever had. But I have a feeling he knew that the walls were closing in, that he was close to being captured. He couldn't run forever. So Officer David Lee was following Bundy, and he decided to run a check on the license plates. And after finding out that it was stolen, he turned on his flashers, pulled the car over just north of West Cross Street. And that's where we're going to go now. To that location. And I just stepped in a pothole. Just a correction. He did not pull right out of here. He would have made a left because he was turning right. See that beige building right there? He turned right up that street. So there's that beige building. Bundy turned right. Officer David Lee followed him up North W Street, right here, right along this street. And can you imagine how dark it is at night out here? I mean, this is the edge of Pensacola. We're about 15 miles from the state line of Alabama. And there's some street lights out here now, but I bet back then there weren't a lot. And it would have been a dark drive, no headlights on, But he would have noticed the police officer following him. Panic was setting in, I'm sure, and I'm glad. So right here at the intersection of Cross Street and Northwest, 2800 block of Cross, 2700 block of Northwest Street, North W Street, Ted Bundy was pulled over right there, right behind me, just past this sign, the Cross Street sign. But he wasn't arrested right there. No. He was pulled over right there. There was a struggle. Ted didn't get away this time, and I just stumbled. Right here, pulled over. So once Ted Bundy's car was stopped, the officer, David Lee, radioed in his position and approached the car with his revolver pointing at the driver. He then ordered the driver to exit the vehicle and get down on the ground. Right here. Now at first, Ted Bundy complied and laid down on his stomach. While Ted Bundy was laying face down on the pavement, the officer asked him if there was anyone else in the vehicle. He believed there might be another person at the time because it was full of stuff. There was so much stuff in there he couldn't tell. Ted Bundy didn't respond, said nothing. So Officer Lee decided to handcuff him. After Officer David Lee placed a cuff on Bundy's left wrist, he suddenly rolled over and kicked the officer's legs out from underneath him. He then struck him in the head with the handcuffs that were on his left wrist. At that stage, Officer Lee managed to regain his composure and he fired his weapon in Bundy's direction. Bundy then ran south. See where that car is approaching right now? He ran in this direction. And then made a left to go east on Cross Street. So see what I was saying? He was stopped here, but he didn't get arrested right here. The officer, David Lee, went in pursuit along this street right here. So Bundy was running right along this street here. David Lee pursued him and yelled at him to stop. But of course, Ted Bundy kept running. So right there, that's the intersection still, and sorry about that. I just had to talk to somebody for a moment. Very nice people around this area asked me, oh, what's going on? And I explained to them. They said, oh, wow. They did not know that. But right about right here, it's just halfway between North V Street and North W Street. So maybe it's not Northwest, maybe it's actually North W Street. I thought it was Northwest Street. North W, North V, that makes more sense. We'll call it North W from now on. So Ted was running. Got to about right here because the officer was yelling, and then he finally decided to fire another round at him. Ted immediately went to the ground. I mean, nobody wants to get shot, but when he hears a gunshot, he cowered to the ground. So according to the officer's arrest report, he initially believed that the bullet had hit the suspect, Ted Bundy, and wounded him. However, after he got closer, the man once again started to kick and struggle with him, the man being Ted Bundy. During the second struggle, the officer struck Bundy several times with his gun until he managed to subdue him and arrest him right here. So it became a bit of a crazy scene because several units showed up here following the arrest. Then they went back to the police station, and for most of the journey, Bundy sat in silence. However, at one stage, he told the officer, "I wish you had killed me." In the stolen vehicle, there were 3 sets of IDs belonging to female Florida State University students, 21 stolen credit cards, and a stolen TV set. Also found a pair of dark-rimmed non-prescription glasses and a pair of plaid slacks. Later identified as a disguise worn by Richard Burton Fire Department in Jacksonville. Here's a picture of the stolen Volkswagen Beetle that he was pulled over in. I was able to find one online. I know that the officer, that extremely wicked and vile movie, whatever that's roughly was called, with Zac Efron, they had asked him to be a part of it, and he refused. Said he lived it, didn't want to relive it again. In the mugshot, you can see a bruise on his side of his face. That's where Ted got hit with the gun. Right there. Now, following his arrest, Ted Bundy wasn't giving up any information whatsoever. He told the police his name was Kenneth Meisner from Tallahassee, Florida. But the real Kenneth Meisner saw his photo in a paper, called authorities and let them know he had done nothing wrong and that was not him. While police were trying to identify Ted Bundy, he was refused bail and charged with possession of stolen property and automobile, possession of stolen television, possession of stolen credit cards, 21 counts, possession of stolen automobile tags, battery of a police officer, and resisting arrest with violence. But they had nothing to go on from Bundy. They didn't know who he was. They looked to his stolen car for evidence. Authorities couldn't find any traceable evidence in the car. The only thing they knew was that car was stolen from somewhere near the Chi Omega sorority house at Florida State University. Police slowly began to suspect that maybe he was behind those attacks. They decided it was time to interrogate Bundy, but he was playing games. He was just not answering, doing as usual. Here's a quote from Ted Bundy about that time when he was being interrogated. I was being interrogated by the police at Pensacola, and I said I wanted to talk to somebody. I needed a friend. I needed somebody close. Ted Bundy alleged that he was traumatized by the experience of being arrested and interrogated by police and attorneys. The very act of being back in custody was deeply upsetting for him. I'll give you all a chance right now to let out a collective "Aww." So they allowed him to make a phone call. He made a phone call to his girlfriend, Elizabeth Klopfer. And then Ted Bundy told police his real name. This is one day after being arrested. Bundy kept repeating, this was going to be really bad when it broke. He was talking about himself, by the way, when he said it was only bad, it's going to be really bad when it broke. He wasn't talking about the publicity, he wasn't talking about the victims, he was saying for him. Now, the police station is where we're going next. Right here. This is where pretty much, I would say, the most infamous serial killer in history. You got Jack the Ripper. You got Dahmer. I think Ted Bundy's at the top of the list. And that's not a kudos to him. He's an extremely vile, disgusting piece of... You can fill in the rest. So after he was arrested, he was brought to the police department. This is not the same police department. It's a Pensacola Police Department, but the original building is no longer around. It was torn down, and this is the new one. And inside, right inside the lobby, they have some photos of Ted Bundy after his arrest, his mugshot, some other cool things. I've already been inside to make sure it's okay for me to go in and film. And, you know, being a Canadian, just start filming in front of our police department. Well, being anybody, just filming outside the police department. Better ask first, which I did. Let's go inside. And right when you walk into the police department, right here, there it is. Wow. So there's his mugshot. Sorry about the glare. Under the alias Kevin Meisner. And then there he is there in the newspaper where they're escorting him from jail. He looks unhappy. Very good. Yeah, a bit of a glare on all these, but you can get the gist. All these old lie detectors, old police radios. There's the lie detector. Wow. It's the old breathalyzer, 1954. Wow. Police siren on your left, and then a radar detector. Wow. They take speed seriously in Florida. See a lot of speed traps, which quite frankly I'm fine with because I don't want anybody speeding around me. Fingerprinting machine. The drunkometer. Some old uniforms. Handcuffs. And that's the story of how Ted Bundy was captured here in Florida, in Pensacola. Wow. Another video coming up very soon. But what happened to Ted Bundy after he was executed? All right. Thanks for watching. Peace out.